right, we interrupt this particular report to give you this. A DUI suspect is being pursued in the Corona area, and I believe by CHP, but Desmond Shaw is live overhead in SkyCal to give us more information. Des?
Yeah, Pat, that is correct. It is CHP now on this one, and that's kind of the peculiar thing about all of this, because it started with LA County Sheriff's deputies and an alleged DUI driver here. We heard about it in the industry area. It was very, very strange because they had a helicopter overhead. The watch commander, for whatever reason, well, first they were asking if they wanted CHP to get involved, and then they said, no, we're going to have this. But then a minute later, that watch commander canceled the pursuit completely before CHP could even get involved. It sounded like the pursuit was going to be over completely. And then, well, this driver must have still been driving kind of erratically, because CHP decided about 5 or so minutes later to pick it up on their own. So they did kind of a little gallivant into the Inland Empire on the 60, South 15, turned back westbound on the 91. We're not too far away, actually, from where a pursuit ended earlier this evening in Anaheim as we come westbound on the 91. Getting into Anaheim Hills now, you see we're near Imperial Highway at this point. Not very fast speeds that we can see. Looks like a late model Toyota Matrix right here is the vehicle in question. The authorities have their airship overhead as well. You saw the bright spotlight overhead. So we'll see how they decide to handle this one. But it's been an on again, off again, and back on pursuit in LA County, the Inland Empire, and now we're westbound on the 91 through Orange County, Pat.
And obviously, Des, we're looking at these speeds, you know, high, but not very high. Obviously, in fact, really the speed limit. You just wonder when the opportune time would be for them to do something, maybe going too fast for a pit maneuver or maybe spike strips. I'm looking at trying to see what's ahead. It doesn't look like there's a lot of traffic up ahead. Well, this CHP cruiser is getting pretty close.
Yeah, he is there. He almost kind of looked like he was setting up for a pit there, right? I don't think that he would. I would concur with you, Pat. I don't think we're going to see a pit at 70 miles an hour, but might be a decent opportunity for a spike strip or something like that, because we are pretty late in the evening, and not really very much traffic here on the westbound 91. So if they wanted to coordinate something like that, it's definitely a tough thing to do. But they actually did it earlier today, a spike strip on the freeway that ended up working out. So we'll see if that comes into play, or perhaps if they get off the freeway, if they want to try either a spike strip or a pit maneuver, we'll see. But this has pretty much been on freeways the entire time that I've heard. Again, started in the industry area along the 60, went all the way to the 15, South 15, and now we're westbound 91, kind of making a really big loop here with this late model Toyota Matrix and CHP in tow. Okay, well, we're going to bring Mike Rogers on the desk in on this one, Mike. And, you know, I was listening to Desmond say about how they had stopped the pursuit in the first place, and then CHP picked it up. It makes you wonder, is it more than a DUI? Well, yeah, you know, originally we had thought that there may have been a stolen component to this, but we confirmed with Sheriff's Department that they did not believe that the car was stolen. And we'll actually backtrack it even further than there. It was first East Los Angeles deputies that spotted the car. Then they got on the freeway. Then the watch commander ordered them into surveillance mode. And then what Des was mentioning was in the city of Industry, LASD asked CHP to come take it over, and CHP was about 30 seconds from taking over this pursuit. And then in a very unusual move, the East LA Sheriff's Watch Commander asked CHP not to chase it, which is very interesting because, you know, obviously he is the watch commander of the Sheriff's Department, not the California Highway Patrol, but at any rate, he asked CHP not to chase it. So everyone backed off, the helicopter pulled off, the ground units pulled off, and then as Des mentioned, about 5 minutes later, CHP must have witnessed the driving for themselves and wanted to try to pull this person over. They didn't, and here we are. So this has gone all the way eastbound on the 60, down south on the 15, and now we're westbound on the 91. Well, you guys have covered these and have information, and Des, if you can chime in on this as well. Why would you think East Los Angeles just said, okay, we're going to give this up and we don't need you to follow? Because they didn't think it was as serious an infraction to I mean, because use resources? Right. DUI is a witnessed thing. If you're going to suspect somebody of driving under the influence, it's something you've witnessed their driving behaviors and say, I believe this person's under the influence. If the CHP officers didn't witness that themselves, the sheriff's office may have been reluctant to hand it over because they're not the ones that actually witnessed this driving, which kind of is what makes me think that after
Sheriff backed out and asked CHP not to take it. CHP witnessed something that then they said, all right, we're good, we can try to pull this person over. And they didn't. And regardless of all of that, even if this person at the end of the day is not under the influence, they're at least now going to go for felony evading.
Right, because they haven't stopped.
Right.
So, Desmond, you've listened to our conversation here, which as you mentioned at first that you thought this was a little bit unusual, and it all sounds pretty unusual. And that's why I asked the question, or it kind of begs the question, is there something more the CHP feel could be involved with this DUI suspect? Or,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, now that Mike makes that point, that does kind of make sense as to why they may have basically said, no, CHP don't get involved, and then we're going to cancel the whole thing. It's just kind of a weird look, to be honest, for the authorities, though, to do that, regardless of circumstance, and then kind of just strange communication from one agency to another, and all the pursuits that we've canceled. And I mean, Lord knows we've certainly seen plenty of pursuits that get canceled for a variety of reasons. That's just a particularly strange one when you had another agency, that was about to get involved. But I suppose that they have their reasons on this one. As for is anything else involved? We haven't heard about it being stolen or anything like that, or outstanding warrants for this suspect. But they definitely have a felony charge waiting for them now at this point, as we make our way into Orange County. And they're not really making any serious attempt to get away from the authorities. It's kind of strange because it's kind of this suspect was lucky in a sense that the sheriffs were willing to let them go and not, have CHP engaged. But then they obviously, however they were driving, must have caught the ire of CHP completely separately. So, now they have their blinker on as well. Always kind of weird to see that in a pursuit, even though they've just kind of been hanging out on the right side of the freeway. Haven't heard any talk yet about spike strips as far as that being a strategy. But a lot of times when you see kind of, really consistent speeds, especially when they're not really high, kind of sticking to one side of the freeway, and then we also have these pretty open conditions. It certainly seems like a pretty ripe situation to attempt a spike strip if CHP wants to attempt that at some point.
Yeah, because what we've seen previously, of course, is they will call off.
Oh, right there.
There it was.
There was a spike
Speak of the
strip.
devil.
As you said
right
it.
there.
Okay, as you said it,
sure
Des,
was.
it was right there. So we'll see how effective it was. Well, are they pulling over? Looks like it. They're going to exit. Are they in the exit lane, Desmond, or what are they doing exactly?
Yeah, he got over to the right. We'll have to see. Not sure if Mike can hear the communications with CHP. If they said good spike, it looked like he went over the spike strip. But if it's such a precise operation there, everything has to go perfectly, especially on the freeway. So even if you have a spike that looks like it was good, we're not sure until we either hear them say good spike on the radio, or until we start to see the speeds really slow down with this one. He is getting off the freeway, but hopefully this will be enough for this driver to realize that CHP means business, and this is over. And indeed, we are at a stop. So let's see if they're going to get out after all this. Well, they stopped, but well, let's see. Maybe not quite yet as we get off the freeway here at Raymond Avenue. We are right by where the other pursuit ended earlier this evening. And they are pulling over to the curb. Very nice of them, so that folks getting off the freeway aren't going to get caught up in all of this. And perhaps we are going to be at a conclusion here.
I was going to say, I guess the driver was being rather polite to pull over to an area, right, where there wasn't much traffic. So now we're waiting for them to open the door or throw the keys out, right? Isn't that the usual protocol?
Yeah, and yes, or at the very least, get out with your hands up. And it looks like, well, we saw the door coming open, and let's see here. So it kind of looked like, I think that suspect might have panicked a little bit after the spike strips. I'm sure it was very jarring, to just kind of be cruising along, and then all of a sudden you probably hear the rubber ripping open underneath you with your tires. So now the door is open, and we do see some hands. And oh yeah, kind of an interesting coincidence there, but. Here we go. Looks like a man here, and after not complying and just kind of parading around some SoCal freeways, looks like they are content to finally give up.
All right. Well, that's Orange County. I'm just going to say it. They usually don't. I don't want to say play around, but they try to get things over with, I would say, rather quickly if they can.
Sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later. They seem to be a little bit more aggressive, and as you can see, they threw that spike strip out there.
Well, and whether it hit his car or not, it was enough to scare him into pulling over.
Mm-hmm. And the good thing, too, is as we noticed that this person wasn't really driving over the speed limit. We've seen people, I mean, it's 70 miles per hour on a freeway is, you know, not, I would say, over the speed limit at all. So, but regardless, the fact that he didn't stop, that's still going to be a charge.
Yep. A peaceful ending, though, here off of Raymond Avenue, just north of the 91. Covered quite a bit of distance, and regardless if the spike was successful on the tires or not, it seemed to have gotten the job and basically shook this suspect into surrendering. And one person now in custody. Okay, well, that will do it for us on this particular pursuit. Also, very interesting, before we let you go, Desmond, is that you mentioned that this was in the exact same place than earlier pursuit.
Yep.
Okay.
Very, very close, yeah. That was off of ramp. I think it was maybe one more ramp to the west that we saw, that one with that narcotic suspect. But that one was in the Inland Empire as well, a little bit earlier this evening. So, yeah, 2 pursuits coming to an end here off the 91 in Orange County this evening.
All right, Desmond, Mike, thanks for that.